Hey there, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. I think, like Clayton, right, Larry? I mean, I know you said Larry David before when we were talking earlier, like,
Yeah.
the statute of limitations on that. But you know what? I haven't seen you. I haven't seen the chat since the New Year. I'm gonna break the rules. Happy New Year. And let's all have a great 2026. Anyway, my name is Bobby Legs. I am your co-host here for Watch Soup on Wednesday nights here with Clayton, my other co-host from the Watchdog podcast. Clayton, how are you doing? How has your New Year been so far?
Yeah, so far so good. Tonight I'm very warm. I showered about 15 minutes ago and I'm
Nice.
still like it was a hot one and woo, uh, overdressed here. But yeah,
Hey,
doing well. TMI.
yeah, no, sometimes you need a nice hot shower, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like at the end of the day, and especially like, it warmed up a little bit here weather-wise, I think probably for you too.
a little
But it's
bit.
still like, it's like damp and a nice warm shower always is a good cure-all. Hey, what did you do for New Year's, man? I mean, anything special?
I was in bed by like 9
Yeah,
on New Year's
nice.
Eve and then I
Yeah,
ran a 5 miler on New
you're
Year's
insane.
Day called the Hangover Classic.
Mhm.
It was really cold. It was rough. And then I got sick. I was sick and then there was an after party. Went and had a couple beers and came home and watched college football. And I could not get warm. Like my wife is you could almost call her like a heating pad collector. She has some you wear, some that are blankets, some
Right.
weighted heating pads. So she gave me like all these different heating pads, and nothing was taking. And I was like, I have to take work off tomorrow. I can't get warm. I'm miserable. So yeah, the weekend was just sleeping, Theraflu,
Yeah.
Mucinex, water, and I'm back. So
Awesome. Awesome. Good to hear. Hey, what do you got on wrist tonight?
I'm wearing the old Seiko SNR 045, the
Oh,
spring drive. Yep,
yeah.
yep,
Nice.
yep.
Nice.
Titanium.
I actually have the Fitbit on. I
Oh,
decided, I decided to start wearing it again. Like I'm trying to starting in December, this past December, I it's not a diet. I'm focusing more like on protein, right?
mm-hmm.
But I want to lose some body fat, so I want to make sure and I do like I want to make sure I want to get some steps in there and make sure my heart rate is in the fat burn zone when I do my exercises, whatever. So I've been geeking out on the analytics on this, lately, and so yeah, that's Fitbit today.
That's good.
Fitbit.
Sometimes that's a motivator, getting
Yeah.
those stats and that feedback. It's like gets you excited to get out there. Sometimes we have to trick ourselves into
Mhm.
wanting to exercise and to get moving. So, hey, that's as good a reason as any to do it. So,
Yeah, yeah. So now, like, I'm back in the office, and one of my coworkers, we have lunch, and then we're like, okay, let's get a 10-minute walk in because like the building is just really really long, so we do like five back and forths, and that takes 10 minutes. It's like 2 minutes for each time to do it, and so that's our
cool.
thing now. Yeah, yeah. So I got her involved in that. So anyway, hey. Let's get right into the soup. I mean, like that's what we're here for, right? Oh,
Yeah.
but we should say hello, right? We should say hello. That's right. I forgot. We should say hello. Hey, we
To the
got Rick
Legion.
here. Hey, this is late leisure. Mr. Wilson here. How you doing, Wilson? Nilo's here. What's up, Nilo? Hey, Tom. Good to see you. Ken Spear checking in from Pittsburgh. Nilo, what is up, my friend? Good to see you. Yeah, happy New Year to you, man. Robert Wando Wood Audio. Robert Wood Audio. Sorry, is here. Yeah, hey, Nilo's wearing his Breitling Super Ocean Orange. Very nice. Caliber is here. Yes, and it is oh, come on, click here. Great to see another watch soup. Yeah, guys, the StreamYard has been buggy all day. So if I struggle here with the comments, it's not me, it's StreamYard, I promise you. Can't wait to hear about Archie. Okay, well, listen, we're gonna get right
Hey,
into it.
what a segue.
Okay, yeah. So Archie Luxury, YouTube is over for me again. I mean, like we were just Clayton and I were talking a little bit about this before. It seems like every once in a while he has one of these. YouTube is over for him. The business is finished. Okay, so let's see what Archie's got to say this time, right? I do feel for him, right? And we're going to get into that a little bit, what, some of the personal reasons that he's had in the last couple of years. But anyway, the business is dying. He says this is not clickbait, not clickbait. Okay, reality. It represents the business side. It represents the last 5 years. That's what he's going to be talking about. When COVID hit, he started streaming daily, and at the peak, he was streaming 3 hours in the morning, and at 1.5 hours at night. I remember, yeah, I think in the morning was for like the Australians and people in Asia, and then or Europe, and then the one at night was for the U.S. predominantly. And he said, look, he's still streaming, but he does 2 hours at night and 1 hour in the morning. So he is doing, if my math is correct, 1.5 hours less streaming than usual. So what happened? What's going on here, right? The everything has completely changed. All right, there's been a number of things that has happened. He enumerates them. Number one, what's going on in his personal life. Two, the watch community market, etc., and three, YouTube in general. So let's get right into what's going on with him personally. 2022 was a rough year for him, right? His collection was stolen. He had gone to the United States for a watch show. He came back and he had been burglared. He said he's been burglared. And the only watch that he had left was the Explorer 2 that he was wearing on his trip. And sadly, his second son had passed away over a drug overdose. And
Yeah.
that was happened. Very, very sad. I've lost some friends from drug overdoses throughout the years, and it is very, very sad, especially when you're young, and that happens, right? So much potential, right? And it's gone. So very, very hard. And he's got problems with his oldest son with addiction. His son has addiction and mental health issues. So Archie really sharing a lot here. It's been hard for him to be creative, and he says the blame's all on him, but totally understand, like, that it's hard for him to be creative with this depression and anxiety that he's going with. He's suffering from PTSD. um if he had a normal job, he would have been fired by now, right? Because it's just the lack of motivation. Number two, he goes into the watch market, and the watch market went crazy during COVID, right? It was just, interests are low, free money was being passed around, and so many incentives, and the watch hobby had exploded. Um, he built a wonderful collection, so he rebounded from being burglarized, and he rebounded and bought some really incredible pieces. I mean, he got some money from the insurance, right? And he refinanced his home, and he built a collection. It was, but it was borrowed money, right? I mean, he did have to end up paying the piper, right? And that's, I know that's one of your pet peeves, right? Don't borrow money. Don't.
Refinance the house for his
Yeah.
watch collection.
Well,
That's
and in fairness, he also bought a BMW with the
yeah,
refinance.
yeah.
So it wasn't just watches. But he did get he had to go for the BMW, man. Like,
Yeah.
look, I mean, look, you need a car. I don't know how it is in Australia. In the United States, most places you need a car to get around. You don't have to get the BMW, right?
Honda Civic.
Yeah, exactly. Honda Civic is just fine, right? Um, and in 2022, at the peak, though, he was making the big bucks, right? The market has changed, and and he's like, yeah, like I said, the market has changed, and now, the money is not as discretionary as it was. And he noticed, he made an interesting point about Americans. These Americans are not making money in watches anymore, and so they don't want to talk about it. They're less interested in it, and suddenly the hobby's not the flavor of the month for Americans, right? Um, Interest in the hobby has shrunken away. Now he goes right into YouTube, and he has been inundated with the YouTube is now inundated with AI slop. Right, the whole platform has changed. The money from the videos is not what it used to be. He's not getting the super chats, right? Because money is tight, right? There's not enough, a lot of super chats coming in. His income has plummeted. He was paying himself a hefty wage when the times were good, and he was able to travel everywhere. He used to have people who volunteer to work on his channel, but now he's had to pay them. Nothing is free. Costs are up, revenue and down. Um, for he the way they do their tax system, or the way he reports his taxes, is like in half years, every 6 months. So the last 4 half years, so the last 2 years, um, it's been falling. His revenue has been falling consistently. It's been disappointing. He went from making 100K in the peak down to 30K USD. Um, this is a quote from him. It doesn't cut the mustard, Charlie. Right? $30,000 does not cut the mustard, Charlie. Um, he had to implement some savage changes, as a result of all this. He sold his BMW. Gonski. He brings back the word
Gonski, it's
Gonski,
Gonski. Yep.
the Polish version of "see you later," Gonski. He sold a lot of his watches too, right? I mean, he enumerated. I mean, like we know what the watches are that he sold. He doesn't have many left. He says it is over, and that's yeah. I mean, so Clayton. I mean, do you feel some? Do you feel any sympathy here for Archie? Do you feel for him at
Uh, I,
all?
I don't know that. I don't know. Maybe I don't think I do really. Um, it's like a cautionary tale of maybe what not to do with money,
Hmm.
like making irresponsible choices and yeah, I don't know. It's well, he seems like a sweetheart of a guy, maybe just
Yeah,
makes some bad financial decisions. He really and from everything I've heard, like behind the scenes and everything, he's actually a pretty wonderful guy, so I don't wish any ill will on him or
yeah,
anything. But yeah, sometimes I maybe from the 90-foot view or whatever, you can see somebody being irresponsible and you make judgments on it. But we've all been there. One of the
hmm,
reasons I'm kind of a stickler on credit card debt and why I don't like to have any is because there was a time where I was irresponsible with them and I got myself in quite a
yeah,
hole. So I
yeah,
never want to go back there again. That's like the worst place to be. So I
yeah,
do feel for him, and hopefully maybe he can learn some financial responsibility from it. Because yeah, I mean, our situations aren't always great forever, right? Sometimes
yeah,
we're doing well, and something can change. You can get injured, you can lose your job,
yeah,
maybe a split from your spouse or something like that, and then it's kind of like starting over. So, man, never take it for granted.
yeah. I mean, like, let's persona aside, the person, Archie, the Paul Pluto, his name. I mean, that's his name. I just feel for him, man. Especially the personal stuff that he has gone through.
Oh,
You
that
know,
that
you
is
know,
awful. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and and
Oh,
so
yeah.
like and so like I do feel bad. I mean, I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like this is not the first time he's gotten himself into like some kind of a financial situation, and he's gotta had to dig himself out of it, making some risky choices. And like there's some identity. I identify with that a little bit. I mean, like I
Yep.
know I've definitely made some bad choices in my life, and then swore I'm never going to do them again, and then I still do them, you know what I mean? So, or think it's going to be different this time. It's the insanity of it all, I mean.
Yeah.
So I feel for the guy, you know what I mean? And it's just like you said, you can't take anything for granted. And hopefully next time, if there is a next time for Archie in regards to YouTube and this community and whatnot, and making it a chance to ramp up, earnings again. Hopefully he's putting some money away to save it. Hopefully he's not getting over his skis ahead of his skis. With purchasing watches. And I know he's calling the collection and selling just to pay some bills and stuff like that. But like when he's in a better situation next time, like hopefully he just doesn't go overboard again. And I feel for him for that, because like I know, like when you have the opportunity, when the slate is clean and you want to catch up, right? You want, or you want to, you see what other people are getting, and you're like, oh, why can't I do that? And then like,
Oh, yeah.
and then you fall into that trap. So I totally get that,
And
so.
he has this persona. I know
Mhm.
we know people who had YouTube channels and bought watches for reviews and stuff, and you kind of get caught up in that. You want
Yeah,
content. His name's Archery Luxury, so of course he
yeah,
needs like Pateks and
yeah, yeah,
Rolex and Rolex and
Yeah,
a Breguet, and I think he says he's still trying to offload a couple Breguet. So I understand that. And as far as the personal stuff goes, yeah, I mean, absolutely awful. I mean,
yeah,
to lose a son and to get burgled, and then having issues with his other son as well. I mean,
yeah,
and all in a pretty short span there. It's just horrible. I do I can't express enough condolences there. That's
yeah.
just a bad stretch.
I wonder if he played things out differently, would would he be in a different situation? Meaning, he's had this channel for a really long time. He's like one of the first, watch channels, right? That was dedicated to watches and luxury items. Um, like if like the decision to go with this archery luxury personality, and then, with this like, kind of like air of like obnoxiousness. Like, did that do him any favors? You know what I mean? Like, I know he attracted a certain crowd,
Yeah.
and certain people like were feeding into that, and loved seeing that. But if he like cast a wider net, like, um, personality wise, or to appeal to a larger audience, would he be in a different? Would he be like in a Teddy Baldassar situation? Like, not to say like it would have been the same route, but I mean like many more, or TGV situation. Maybe that's a little bit better comparison. Would he have the subs, right? Which,
Right.
he doesn't have the sub. I mean, like, for the guy who's been doing what he's been doing and prolific as he's been doing, and the fan base he's doing, you think he'd had like over 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 subs, and
Oh,
he
like
hasn't.
70, right? 70K,
Yeah, I mean,
something
like,
like that.
I think he's
Yeah.
been stuck. Yeah, I mean, like, so, like, and if he had, like, like, if he endeared himself more,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
wonder if
mean,
he,
I never even watched one single live stream he ever did.
yeah,
I've never been I'm not even subbed.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah,
I've never been a big fan. I think I got turned on to him early, and then, but, it's also a persona. So,
yeah,
um, I do take things he says with a grain of salt, but, yeah, it's a he obviously is a creative guy, smart guy. Maybe he pivots here and does something. I don't know much about his background. So does
yeah.
he have like a career to fall back on?
I don't think so at this point. I think he had, and I think he got fired. And so, like, I think, and then I think when we were in quarantine, which really, amplified his, his channel, and he was able to earn a good living. I think maybe he thought that that was going to last forever,
Yeah.
and I don't think he's got like a 9 to 5 like how like you and I do. I think this was his career. He decided to make that this career because times were good, and they were going to continue. He felt, and that's just, probably like one of the biggest mistakes he's made. Hey Joey, hey now, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, I mean,
There are
and
some
at this
people
point,
employing. Oh, I'm so sorry.
no, no, no,
Please.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
There are some people employing, his sort of style, like O'Sheen O'Malley. He does a lot of live streams, and I think he's not shy that he wants
Yeah,
super chats, right? He'll only answer questions if they're super chats. But he's also, I think, he's a full-time YouTuber now, I think, but he also gets paid and makes beautiful videos for brands. Like, I don't
yeah,
know that
yeah,
I know Archie did some things like that, but I think O'Sheen is in a position where he can maybe
and
capitalize on that and make a pretty good living from it.
and O'Sheen had like a career before. I think
Oh yeah,
was a musician,
musician. Yeah,
and so, like, who knows like how many like credits of he's on, like, writing credits, like, like, is he getting
mailbox money.
royalties from,
Yeah,
like, um for some of the songs he's performed,
but I
so
know O'Sheen said I've watched some. I don't watch his live streams as much anymore, but I remember him saying like, I need to pay some bills, got to sell some watches. So I mean, I
yeah.
think that, it's I don't think some of these people make as much money as we think they do.
Hmm.
With YouTube, and you can speak to it. YouTube doesn't you have to be creative to make a living on YouTube, I
Yeah,
think.
well, yeah, I mean, like, I think, well, it's the niche, right? It's watches. It's not a huge niche in YouTube, right? So, and you get paid, by the advertisers, right? So So like, like fitness and like finance, they do very, very well, and those people get paid a lot of money,
Yeah.
because that's where all the views are going to. And so like if you wanna make a career doing watches on YouTube, well, that's probably not a good idea unless you have like a plan where you leverage that YouTube exposure to creating a boutique where you can sell watches, right? Or or an online a store where you can sell merchandise on or products. You can't just make it a career just like just doing videos. Right, that's not gonna, not in this space, right? Maybe again, maybe like if you're in fitness or if you're in finance or like vlogging, maybe that's where the real money is. But like a lot of the stuff, like watches and stuff like that, I mean, like you're not going to make a lot of money. You're not going to make a lot of
Yeah.
money. um all right, hey, listen, let's move on.
All right.
And you've picked a video. It's kind of sort of, I don't know if it's related, but it's kind of like, in the same, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a relative time. It's okay to be skeptical of the YouTube watch experts, but ask, don't just assume. Take it away, my friend.
It's about YouTube and YouTubers, so I guess
Yeah.
it's somewhat yeah. So this was Shane. He's been around ever since I can remember. Ever since I've been
Hmm.
in the hobby, I remember watching his videos. Not so much now, but especially early when I was discovering a bunch of watches. He was one I went to again and again. Kind of like a calm, reserved guy, kind of like even tempered. So I was kind of thought that. So yeah, I like this style of video from him. I hope he keeps doing it because I'm not necessarily into all the watches he reviews anymore. So this is good. Yeah, this wasn't the video Shane planned to make this week, but then he got a comment on one of his videos. After he was done rolling his eyes, it got him thinking of another topic, something that might be obvious, but goes to show why there are no true watch experts out there and why there's maybe nobody out there qualified to make sweeping comments on the watch industry and why viewers should take everything YouTubers say with a grain of salt. He then puts up the comment. You can put it up if you want. He's not sharing the name of the person who made it or giving the video that it's on. He doesn't want this person to be harassed. And he also doesn't want anyone to be discouraged from leaving comments. He wants to be called out if somebody thinks he got something wrong. He can learn from it. Shane can learn from it. And he does ask, though, that people watch the entire video before commenting. I think I've done that. Get a minute in a video and they say something you disagree with and you get the fingers working and then maybe 5 minutes later you realize like my comment I should have watched the whole thing to get the full spectrum of what he was saying. So okay, here's the comment. Most, if not all, reviews disagree with you. I think you're caught up in that you can only afford cheap watches. I don't own this watch, but I have two Rolexes. Okay. So despite coming off like it's from a snob, and despite the asshattery of making assumptions about Shane's entire collection based off of one video, the point has some validity, Shane says. Many times these comments appear when he looks at mid-tier watches that push beyond their price point, like Monta, Formex. He will often say, or people will say, that Monta and Formex finishing rivals Swiss luxury. Or, he mentioned Casio Oceanus when he was talking about Grand Seiko. And he also mentioned the chicken watch, the Citizen Chronomaster, when he was talking about Grand Seiko. People claim he doesn't know what he is talking about, but are they really asking, how do you know? How do you know these claims, right? What makes you qualified to make these comparisons? And that's not a bad thing to ask when we hear these statements in YouTube videos, really. Yeah, that's not a bad thing to ask, but he thinks that people don't really want the answer anyway. They've already had their mind made up. If I disagree with you that Monta has better finishing, you're not going to change my mind. So, regardless, it's still a valid concern and something we should ask questions of in a review. The first time he can remember it happening was the first time he looked at a Monta. The commenter was polite, so he thought about it. Shane thought about it. He realized he didn't have any firsthand knowledge to make that statement whatsoever, that Monta has better finishing or the same finishing than Swiss luxury watches. He said it because he heard other reviewers he trusts say it. He's not sure they actually knew what they were talking about either.
Hmm.
So, because he's a scientist, this is a problem. One of the very first things he was taught was to never make 100% certain statements unless you had the data to back it up. And he didn't have that data. And that was humbling. He realized he had to do something about it. So he's put lots of effort into getting hands on with higher end and mainstream and entry level luxury watches because he does, if you don't know Shane, he does primarily cover more affordable watches, right? So that's his bread and
Mhm.
butter. So he put the work in. He got out of his comfort zone a little bit and got hands on with some higher end watches. He felt it was his responsibility to get more tools in his tool belt. Now he feels well versed in the end of the pool he plays in. He's still not your guy for ultra high end watches, but you know what? He's content. Um, this blind spot the comment brought up is still an issue, though, right? It's a high horology accusational hand grenade that's been lobbed at the affordable watch world forever, right? But you know, some of us do kind of look down on people who only review high end or low end watches and think they match up to high end. Well, you haven't seen any high end, so how do you know? But he actually thinks this accusation is a door that swings both ways. For those who obsess and focus on luxury watches at all, but don't really know what's going on outside of that. Many have no real concept of value or value watches anymore. That affordable and mid-range watches have actually come a long way since the high horology lover last bought a Seiko 5 20 years ago, right? And some actually make you question the point of luxury brands. So if you hear someone say a luxury watch is the only thing worth owning and everything else is a shitter, I put that in for Archie. They also don't have the full picture of what's going on. How you could also say for the people who focus on mainstream brands and totally dismiss micro brands. If you aren't paying attention to the current state of micro brands, how do you really know? Well, the accusation in the comment usually gets thrown out at the affordable world. This is a blind spot that's more widespread. It's just a fact of reality. So many watches out there at different prices and quality. Reviewers just can't look at everything, right? Very few universal experts out there. How can you possibly get your hands? Now, some people like Random Rob, who's been doing a video a day for 10 years or whatever, feels like he's looked at everything, but even he still hasn't seen everything. Um, Shane sees himself as a jack of all trades, but most of us just find a particular corner and kind of stick with it, right? A little niche, if you will. And then we're kind of well versed on that and we can answer questions. Um, his advice to reviewers is that despite having your own little niche, go out and broaden your horizons now and then, like he did with getting his hands on some high end watches. Open your mind a bit. Also, viewers should trust that they know what they're doing. Reviewers know what they're doing. But if you get the sense a reviewer is getting out of their lane, it's okay to take what they're asking with a grain of salt and call them on it. Just be polite, be nice, right? Not like this guy, just if you so you know what, I disagree with you, but be cool about it. They're going to come back and you can have some discourse. It doesn't all have to be adversarial, even though you're on the internet and you have keyboard warrior fingers and all that kind of thing. So he does keep hearing that a lot of people have stopped trusting YouTubers for whatever reason. He thinks there are some issues with reviews, but overall, they do more good for the community than bad. Um, he says most channels are a document of the reviewer's hobby. I know you've done that. It's
Yeah.
we've been on that journey with you, right? And we can go on that journey with you, and sometimes we might even identify with it. So I'm going to stop there. That's a lot of talking. What do you think of this video? I thought it was kind of an interesting perspective.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good thought experiment. Like, thinking about it. Like, I think with reviewers, look, it's not easy, and nobody's perfect. And like, YouTube is the kind of platform where anybody can have a voice. Um, you know, eh, which is good and bad, right? Because not everybody needs to have a voice.
Right.
But if you're compelled to create something and put it out to the world, YouTube gives you that platform. Look, I've never claimed that I was a watch expert. I just like watches, and I got into doing reviews, and like I got my share of comments, adversarial comments, and after a while, like I don't even respond to comments. I know, like the right thing to do as a YouTube content creator is to respond to people's comments, um and you want to engage, you want to, that's how you get, people to more people to watch your channel, blah blah blah. I just stopped that at a certain point, because like to me, like there's it was kind of like a waste of time, especially when you had those adversarial comments. I mean, people just want to, come off as they're better than you, and so they say what they have to say, and even if you like respond, like it doesn't really matter. It's just like politics, right? Like,
Yeah,
you're not going to change somebody's mind anymore. Like
yeah.
those days are long gone. And so, yeah, I don't even bother. I don't even do any reviews anymore. I felt like I've done enough. And again, I'm not an expert. All I can do is give you the specs and how I feel. And I think where I got in trouble, or where a lot of people get in trouble, is when they make these comparisons to other brands, on watches, and maybe you don't have that much of an expertise on it, and that's definitely valid. But at the end of the day, the viewer has a right to just move on, and just keep on looking or finding, like Shane says, find a reviewer that you like, and maybe stick with them,
Yeah.
and so that's how I feel about it. But it's an interesting conversation. It's just an interesting take.
Well, I think I think certain people do the we see it all the time, like the clickbait video titles, like better than Rolex, and you see a
Yeah,
San Martin there or something. I mean, pretty ridiculous, But I mean,
yeah.
I think I've done comparisons in watches I've owned. Like I was really impressed with the Casio Oceanus titanium and the way they polish it and the finishing and everything. I'm not sure I've ever said it's gone as far as saying it's Grand Seiko level, but I was pretty impressed with it. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of value and impressive features in watches that are in the mid tier. So I would never want to pigeon myself into one price point. I
Yeah,
think there's fun to be had at all price points.
yeah.
Um, so
Hey, Eric, how you doing? And look, I mean, so he's talking. He makes a point of talking about, like, this the high end collector, that maybe like poo pooing the affordable watches, and maybe, hey, go out there and check it out, because some of these affordable watches are the build quality is way better than they used to be, right? And so, like, I think there's some of that. I don't think that's a lot, most of the collectors out there, or most of the people who are watching these kind of videos. I think that's a very, very small percentage of people who are just like, I'm not going to bother with anything sub
I
$5,000 or
see
something.
reverse snobbery a lot more. I gotta tell you,
Yeah,
people who think you're just you're not a real watch enthusiast because you have Rolex and nice watches. You think that they always just think you're going after status, and
yeah,
they totally dismiss the fact that no, maybe I just like Rolex because they make damn solid watches.
right, yeah,
Obviously the brand plays a part, but it's not the only reason, right? And
yeah,
I see a lot more of that than somebody with a lot of nice watches looking
right,
down on people who don't have nicer, as nice watches. I
right.
don't see that very often, really.
Or like, hey, I got this, like, $400, like, watch that has like sapphire crystal and that hacks and whatnot, and basically you pay 3 grand for the same kind of watch. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's a
there's a
lot of that.
lot of that. Yep.
So many layers, it's so complex, right? I mean, like, the audience is not your one-minded audience. I mean, there's so many different, opinions and personalities out there, and you're just not going to be able to make everybody happy. That's what it comes down to. Like, there's always going to be somebody making fun of, like, my dry hands. You know what I mean? Like, that's always going to happen, right? Or, or like, if I slipped up and I said it was like, 12 millimeters thick, and when it's actually 12.5 millimeters thick, like that's always going to happen. And I don't think Shane, and I don't think it does bother him, that much. I mean, but it bothers him enough that he had to make a video, about it, and I think he's rightfully so. But, it's just gotta have to, like, let that go.
Yeah, I think yeah, this one got to him, and it was a worthwhile video to make.
Mhm.
Maybe just from both of us are. I'm not a YouTuber, but I have a podcast, so we're both
Yeah,
content creators. Um, yeah, I think sometimes it's easy to dismiss the comments because they are just negative, but some of them maybe they have a point.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe I do have to think about this in a different way. So I know it's always tempting to look at the comments. I don't really get comments because podcasting is just not really a format where you do
Yeah.
versus YouTube where you get hundreds of them and a lot of them. It's a cesspool, really.
Yeah.
It can be.
The
Yeah.
Chief Watch Collector, even who's seen is
Oh,
schlepping
he's doing a
affordable
lot of that
watch
lately.
brands
Oh man,
because of
yeah.
money.
He does that. I think who does that? Who else? Adrian will do that sometimes.
Mm,
Bruce Williams will do that. Watches, for a fact these guys would never wear in a
yeah.
million years without being paid to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
yeah,
as long as they're like, I mean, I've been watching Oshin video in a long time. As long as he's like, transparent that, he's being paid, then
yeah.
it is what it is. Hey, Caliber, you know who Random Rob is. You know who he is. Thomas Paul is an enthusiast like us all. First and foremost, he forged a brand identity which reflected his personality, encouraging people to leave nasty, vile comments on to his videos for entertainment. Yeah, I mean, Thomas, I get that. I think maybe, but I was just as a thought experiment wondering like if he didn't go down that route due to where he positioned himself in watch YouTube content history, like how he was like one of the first people, like with the trajectory had been different, you know.
But he's not like a super polished guy like Teddy or Tristiano. So I think I don't know. It's
Yeah, but I
hard to
mean, like,
picture him. It's hard to picture him going another route.
but I don't think you need to be super polished um to be able
He's just
to
so good at what
endear
he does. It's hard to imagine him doing
yeah.
anything else. Yeah.
But you don't have to be super polished to endear yourself to people and to be successful. There's a lot of channels out there. Um, Maybe not necessarily in the want space, but in other spaces where you just have a camera and barely any decent lighting, and it's somebody just rambling, and they have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of subscribers.
Right.
So that's where I'm going. Like like. In connection to like where his financial situation is, like if he played it a little bit differently, would he be differently positioned financially, that he wouldn't be going through some ups and downs and tough times. That's
That's why I
where I would.
never subbed or watched any of his videos. Just the negativity just didn't really appeal to me all that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul has said that his spending a lot of money traveling to London, New York, and Geneva for watch shows has cost him a lot of expenses. Yeah, for sure. And he has bad luck in his personal life and also good times and bad times in what has effectively been his job, daily live streaming for super chats. I don't think it's over for Charlie. No, I don't think it's over. And like one of my favorite comments that I saw on that video was like, "Oh, okay, so we'll see you tomorrow then." You know what I mean? Like, right? So, yeah.
So
Needless to,
these live streams must have been pretty epic then. He must have been getting a lot of money in.
I think I mean, look, I gave him some like I mean, like it was so full of drama. Like it was like almost like like they just created drama, and like
Yeah.
there was like maybe a couple hundred people around the world who like every time he did it was just bought into it, and it's just like we're giving him money. Um, and I think it became a thing. Like like the snowball was rolling down the hill and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like I think like people were just like you know like it was a thing to give him money. Like what I mean. Like it
Mm.
was just like here here. Um, you can usually tell by what they are reviewing what their channel is aimed at. That's for sure. I think people who buy AliExpress watches almost exclusively are as toxic to the community as those who only buy Rolex. Okay.
I would agree with that.
Um, I think it's definitely okay to be skeptical of watch reviewer. People have preconceived ideas based on what the videos that have influenced them. Don't take comments too seriously. And Golden Age Faces says, Bobby, does the Tudor Black Bay 58 Burgundy what? Sucks? Fox? I don't know. Does it? Does it get laid? I mean, does it?
I've seen it in person. It's okay. I just saw it a couple of weeks ago actually. Um Went into a watch store with my wife didn't care for it. It's a little too loud.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. But it seems to be pretty popular.
I'm just,
I think that's what the cool kids say like it's good.
oh, Fox?
Yeah, yeah, I believe.
Okay. Yeah,
We're
sure.
we're old, so
Yeah, no, no. I mean,
I don't say that.
I'm still like wrapping my head around 6'7". Um, that's what
Yeah.
I'm still wrapping my head around. And then like you have to do the hand thing. You got to do like that when you do it.
Oh, do you? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like
I'm not
six
around young
seven.
people who yeah, oh, okay. My yeah, well, at Thanksgiving my nephew's caught somebody said it a couple different times and my youngest nephew's like 6'7". I don't know if
Yeah,
he did that though.
yeah. Now I'm doing it. Like like without even like realizing like the other day, it was my son was at a birthday party and me and one of the other parents we decided to go to Starbucks to get coffee and so we got like roped in to buy other people coffee and like we were leaving Starbucks and she was like, oh, I think I have like, are we supposed to, how many cups of coffee we're getting, 6 or 7? I'm like 6 7. You know what I mean? And she's like, what is the matter with you? And
Most
uh
days it's like I feel like I'm 6'7",
yeah, I was like,
67,
what?
yeah.
I don't know what that means. Have watchmakers lost their damn mind for what they are charging for straps these days, man? But it's been that way for a while. Watch straps, like you ever go on like Panerai site and try to buy a watch strap, they're like at least minimum like $400
Oh god.
for a strap, and then that's on the cheap end. There's like you know,
If you want that mesh no time to die bracelet for Omega, the titanium, I think it's like $1,200. It was. It's probably
yeah.
more now because that watch has gone up. So,
Thanks, Thomas. It's a thing to pay for my soup, Clayton. Happy New Year. Okay. Thanks, Thomas. 6 7 thing is finally dying. It was a nonstop in my household for several years.
several years. I just heard of
Oh,
it.
oh, months. Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
jeez,
Okay.
it's like I'm out of touch, but am I really that out of touch? I feel like I just heard of it a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I think like the key is if you want to kill it, like the adults need to start saying it, and then the kids would be like, "Nope. Okay, we're done. On to the next thing." On to the
Yeah,
next.
it's like, is Fortnite still cool?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
I know it
I
like
saw
went
some.
out for a while, but I think it's back.
I saw some Instagram posts from Topps Baseball Trading Company that they were highlighting how like there's a couple of like young baseball players who got their baseball cards whatever and they sign it and they're trolling each other. So it's like it was like the kid from like the Orioles was trolling the kid from the Oakland A's, the young guy, and it was like, oh, he suck, you suck. He signed his name. He's like, oh, and what's his name sucks at Fortnite, and they're like, they're going back and forth. It was actually kind of cool. Like they're like
That's cool.
autographing it, and they're like they're saying that the other guy sucks at Fortnite. It's like stupid stuff like that. Yeah,
I
I don't
think
know.
Pokemon's still cool.
No, Pokemon's always so cool.
Yep, yep.
What?
One time recently, like within the last 6 months, maybe, I was walking my dogs and I see this kid like frantically picking things up off the road, and he's like, "My Pokemon cards!" And so I was like, "Oh man!" They were like the wind blew them, and so
Yeah.
I was helping this
Oh
poor
yeah.
kid pick up his Pokemon cards.
There's another
He was
parent
so
in my.
upset.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I
You
was
were
just
so
gonna say
upset.
he was so upset.
There's another parent in my son's class. He got into vending machines, and his bigger sales are Pokemon cards. Like he has like trouble like keeping them stocked. So he's got these vending machines like in these stores
Yeah,
or malls,
cool.
and it's just like so they're still a thing. Um, who would you make the face of Gerard Perregaux if you had to choose an investment?
Wow.
Right here,
Yeah.
this guy,
Yeah. I mean,
this guy.
basically our Mr. Gerard Perregaux.
Yeah. Uh,
Do you
yeah, I
still
don't know,
have
man.
the what you still
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
yep,
Yeah, the
good.
Richville and the Seahawk.
Yep. Yep.
Hey man, we made it.
Yeah,
We
we
made
did
it.
it. Made our
We took
goal.
in 2026. We're starting it. We're starting hot. We're starting hot. So, um, hey Chad, thank you so much for joining us this evening, Clayton. Hey, you just came out with a new episode on your collection, right?
Yeah, and then Keith and I recorded one about 2026, like hopes and predictions. I just have to
Yeah,
edit it. I just haven't
yeah,
edited it yet.
awesome, awesome. So when do we think that's going to be coming out? No pressure.
Hopefully tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I'm
Okay.
hoping. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
hoping.
need something to
Yeah,
listen to in the car going to work,
yeah.
or coming
And
back from work.
oh, you know what? I heard from Mr. Sanjay. Um, I
Oh, how's
actually
he doing?
he bought a watch. And he showed me a picture of it. So I don't know
Oh,
if I should say because
yeah. Let's
yeah,
yeah. Let's
yeah,
maybe this is a way we can entice him to come on.
yeah, yeah. He can talk about it. But yeah, he's doing well. He just bought a watch recently, and yeah, we've been texting back and forth a bit. So
Yeah, yeah. Tell him to come on or go on
yeah,
your podcast or
I
whatever.
will. Yeah, I know he's I think he's got a lot of kids.
Yeah,
He's
he's got so
beating
many.
himself. I think he beats himself up about his job. Like he knows what he's doing, but I think he's
Yeah,
like he feels guilty like taking any time away from like getting better at his job. But
yeah,
we know he's Sanjay.
yeah.
We know he's killing it.
He's killing it. All right, man. Hey, so we'll see you. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, and yeah, chat soon. See you guys.
See ya. Have
Good
a good
night.
week. Bye.